Hey guys, today I'm breaking down everything you need to know about the brand new Make.com AI agent feature. I personally spent countless hours exploring these tools so that you don't have to, and I've scaled my AI agency to over 14 grand a month. And in these videos, I'll show you exactly how to do the same. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you through a straightforward 7-step process to build out powerful Make.com AI agents. Then we're going to actually go and build out a practical example of this in real time. And then we'll explain the key differences between AI automations and AI agents so that you can determine exactly when to use each approach, because AI agents aren't always the best approach for every workflow. And so let me show you exactly what AI agents look like in action. So if we head over here to make.com, we can see that there's this new agent feature here on the left. And once we start creating these agents, we'll add in system prompts, system tools. I'll show you exactly how to set up all of these tools inside of make.com. And then inside of the actual workflow, it's going to look something like this. We'll connect it to Telegram, and we'll be able to basically give it which tools that we want, add in the custom instructions, add in the custom messages, connect it with our chatbot. And that's essentially the essence of how we're going to be building out agents. And I'll show you how to do this so that it's broken down as simply as possible for you. So now let's go into this 7-step process that I'll show you in terms of how do we actually build out these agents, guys. So it's going to start with actually just determining if we need an AI agent or an AI automation. And so the kind of key differences between AI agents and AI automations is that automations are linear. They go left to right. They're deterministic. We set a predefined path and steps for this workflow such that we know exactly when this happens, the scenario starts, and when the scenario starts, this sequence of action happens. There's no context memory. It's just conditional logic. And it looks something like this. You have module 1, module 2, module 3, and it's saying when this happens, then do this, take this data from this, put it into this, etc., etc. And so these are best, a lot of times these are actually what's best, because if you don't want it to potentially have, higher percentages of errors, because we're just telling it exactly what we want it to do, so it's going to break less often. Now, when you're thinking about AI agents, these are non-linear dynamic workflows, and so it looks something like this hub and spoke model. So we give a chat to this agent saying like, hey, go do XYZ for me, and then it's going to have access to our various different tools here, and it will determine for itself which tools to call based on what we're asking it to do. And this is much more dynamic. So it's not just like, hey, it only knows how to do this one thing. It's like, no, we can give it these 5 scenarios. And then based on what we want it to do, it will determine which of these scenarios to call, which of these tools to make. And so it maintains conversational context. It uses memory to store our different interactions. And then it uses multiple steps to coordinate these models. And so it must coordinate multiple steps. It's more complex. It has a higher degree of errors, but it also can accomplish a lot more. And as a result, it can, essentially do work more effectively. And so when we're looking at how to actually create these in make.com, the first step is we'll create the agent. And so let's go over here to make.com and actually start creating these agents. And so you're going to go to make.com. You're going to go to the left here and click this AI agents feature, and we're going to actually just create a new agent here. And so you're going to have to connect some sort of AI connection, and this is why AI agents are essentially free, because you are connecting it with your own API. And so whether you use Claude, whether you use OpenAI, just type in like OpenAI. If you type in like OpenAI API call, or just API platform or something like that, you can just create a free account, add API credits, and get your API key. And then once we go in here, I'm going to call this Ethan's personal assistant agent. I'm going to give it a model. I'm going to say 3.5 Sonnet. And then we're going to give it a system prompt. So in this AI agent, I want it to have access to the internet. And so we're going to give it access to the internet here so that it can go research stuff for us. And so it's basically going to be a better way to interact with the internet. So I'm basically going to give it a system prompt here. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm actually just going to go over here to Claude, and we're going to actually just have Claude write us the system prompt. So when I go over here to Claude, I'm just going to say something like, write me a AI agent system prompt using XML for an AI agent that has access to the internet and that has access to our email, so it can both search the internet for different queries but also access my inbox, so getting emails, deleting emails, replying to emails, and sending emails. And so you can see here, Claude will understand exactly how to do this, and this is going to be the system prompt that we're going to put in here. So it's a helpful AI assistant. It's going to it's giving different permissions, and basically it's just going to figure out what types of things are we going to need to communicate with this AI agent and how should we put it into a prompt. So now you can see here that, you know, it's pretty comprehensive. We might not actually need this much. And so I'll probably say remove authentication. Remove authentication. Section, because that might mess it up. But other than that, you can see it's the emails, it's the error handling, it's the search, it's giving it all these different functions that it can use. So now if we go in here, it's rewriting this, and we're just going to copy this directly into the system prompt. Okay, boom. Now once this finishes, we're just going to go up here. We're going to copy this. Now we're going to go over here to make.com. We're going to add this in as the system prompt, click save. So this is the personal assistant agent, and now we're going to give it access to different tools, and we can actually just add these tools in here. And I'm going to make sure I save this just so that everything gets saved correctly. Then we're going to go over here and add system tools. So now we're going to go and actually build out our AI agent. So you're going to start by going into the scenario section. We're going to create a new scenario. We're basically going to set up our Telegram bot, and then we're going to connect it with this agent, and then we'll build out the tools after that. So this is pretty much the basic infrastructure of this agent. So we're going to start with Telegram here. Telegram. We're going to, I believe, watch updates here. Yeah, we want to just watch updates. And so this will allow us to basically see whenever a new chat comes in. And then we're going to create a webhook. And we're going to call this Ethan's personal assistant AI agent. And then we're going to click add a connection. You're going to see we need this token here, and I'll show you exactly how we get that token. And so now if you go over here into Telegram, you're going to just type in botfather into, you know, the search, and this is just like an integration that's natively built into Telegram, so you will find it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click start here. We're going to click /new bot. We're going to name this something. So I'm going to call this Ethan assistant bot, Ethan assistant make agent bot. And now I'm going to choose a username. I'm going to actually just use the same one. And you need to end with bot. That's why I named it like that. And so now it says, okay, you have your new AI agent here, and here is the access token. And so I'm going to put the access token in here. This is Ethan's personal assistant bot. I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to go to my bot here. And so you can see now that this is connected. So if I click save here, this is my Telegram integration. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna test out this integration first. I'm gonna click run, and I'm just gonna say hey, boom. All right, the message came in. It actually pulled in the /start, and so that's connected. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna type in AI agents. We're gonna go run an AI agent. We're going to put in a thread ID here, and we're going to put in a message. So the message is going to be the text. So we're going to put this text in, and then the thread ID is going to be the chat ID here. Boom. Actually, no, let's put in this chat ID. Boom. And then that's how we're going to get information into this scenario. And then we basically want to output back into Telegram. So now if I go here, let me make sure this saves correctly. Damn. Okay, that's why. We had to choose an agent up here because I didn't choose the agent. That's why it didn't work. Same thing, chat ID, message, chat ID. We're going to continue scenario while working an agent. We're going to click no there. And then we're going to put the message text here. Boom. Then we're going to output back into the Telegram bot, send a message, and it's going to be the response from this agent. So I'm going to use the personal assistant bot. The chat ID is here, chat ID. The text is going to be the response up here. And we're just going to allow it to, we're just going to click save now. So now the basic infrastructure of the bot is built out. And so what I can do is I can just click save here. And now we can see that if I run this, there we go. Now if I go to Telegram and I say hello, it's going there and it says, hi, how are you today? Well, what questions can I answer for you? So the basic architecture of the bot is set up. And so now that that's out of the way, the next thing we want to do is we'll just name this. So I'll just call this Ethan's personal assistant AI agent. And then we're going to go back. We're going to click save changes. We're going to create our actual tools here. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our scenarios page. And we're actually going to create these tools. So I'm going to go AI agents. I'm going to create a new scenario. We're going to give it access to search the internet. So we're going to give it access to Perplexity. So I'm going to say make an AI completion. You have to connect to your Perplexity, API key. We're going to give it, let's say Sonar. Let's just say Sonar. And then the message, this is actually going to come from the agent. So we're not actually going to type anything in this message. We're going to use this as a variable. And so it's actually more simple than you may think. So the new feature with AI agents, we now have this scenario inputs and outputs feature down here. And essentially we're going to click add item, and we're just going to name what is the input that's going into this agent that the AI is creating, and what is the output of what is putting back to the AI. So you can essentially think of it like this. The Telegram bot interacts with the AI agent module, and then that AI agent module has access to this tool. So it itself is figuring out what is the input, and then it's inputting something back out and putting it back into the Telegram chat. So it'll make more sense in a second. So I'll just say, we'll just call this research query. And we'll just say this is the item, this is the query that you are entering into a web search to research information. And then we're going to set this to text, no default value. We'll call this required. And then the output here, we're going to say research output, output, and we'll just call this the output from the Perplexity research module. And this is also required. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on this Perplexity module, and if we go in here and click this curly braces, this is where the custom variables will show up. Sometimes it doesn't load right away, so I'm just going to delete this and restart it and kind of let it refresh itself. So then we're going to go back to the messages, go back to the content, go here. Now you can see this research query input, and we're going to call this a user role. We don't need to set anything else. And then for the output, we're actually going to go here. We're going to say scenario return output. We're going to go back to this curly brace thing here, and we're going to call this research. We should have the output as well. Maybe it didn't save correctly. Let me make sure that saves. So we have research output, and we want the research output to be put inside of here. So it looks like research query. Let me just refresh that again. I've noticed, okay, so we have to change this to on demand, which is something I was going to do next, but we'll change this to on demand. That allows it to run, as soon as the agent calls it. We're going to go back to return output. We're going to see if this is showing up now. Research query. It's really weird that it's not showing up. So one of the things we might do is we'll just disconnect this, unlink research query. Let's make sure this is set up correctly. Maybe we just say it's not required. The output from the research query. We're just going to call this perplexity research output. Click save. We'll see if it's showing up now. Okay. And so it looks like, that is just essentially the output that we already named, and we'll just put in the chat completion. So if we run this, we basically just want this to pull in this information. So whatever the chat completion is, we're just going to have it output directly into here. So now if I click here, click save, this is the research tool. I'm going to click save, turn this on, save, go back. And now we're going to give it access to Gmail as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go and back to my AI agents here, create a scenario, and I'm going to call this the Gmail agent or the email agent. So now I'm going in here, waiting for this to load here. Same thing. I'm just going to create a Gmail module. Before we do that, I'm just going to create these so that it works correctly. And so I'm going to call this email subject, the subject line of the email that's required. I'm going to add an item, and I'm going to call it email to address, the email address that this email is being sent to, required. Then I'm going to call this email body, the body text that the email, the content that will be included in the email. This is required. And then I'm going to go in here and we're going to call this send an email. Connect this to my email account. And then I'm going to choose a to recipient. That to recipient is the email to address. The subject is the email subject. And the content is the email body. So now I'm going to click save here. I'm going to call this and put this as an output, return output. And then I'm going to add scenario output, email agent output. I'm going to say whatever, return the outcome of the Gmail agent. And then maybe we'll put in, the message ID. Here is the message ID that we're sending. And boom, click save. Oops, change to on demand. Then we'll click save. Activate scenario, on demand. It's not saved yet. Save, activate. We'll call this the Gmail agent tool. And then boom, save changes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go back to the AI agent feature and we're going to connect these tools. So I have the email personal assistant agent and I'm going to give it access to these tools. So now we have the perplexity tool or the research tool. We're going to say use this tool when you want to search the internet. Save. We're going to call it the Gmail agent tool. Use this tool when you want to send an email. Boom. And I'm going to add both of these. Click save. Now we should see that it has access to these two tools. So the email agent, or the personal assistant agent, has access to those tools. Now if we go back to the scenario, and then if we go into our AI agent, go into the personal assistant AI agent, we can see it has access to these tools now. So let's actually go and have it search the internet for us and see if it can do that correctly. So I'm going to go back to the Telegram, and I say, what are some good places to check out in NYC? So we're going to see this run. It should call the correct agent, and then it should call the Perplexity agent, and then get back to us here. So we can see it's running agent. Boom, here we go, guys. Classic must-see attractions. It's got access to Perplexity. It's giving us all this information about the attractions, the museums, neighborhoods, notable spots, etc. And so that's really awesome. Now we have it access. It has access to Perplexity in the internet. So now let's test out the Gmail feature. So I'm going to say, send an email to ewnelson13@gmail.com asking about when he's available to have a drop-in to talk about the future of AI agents. All right, so we can see here now the make agent is running. And let's see if this works here. It just ran. Now let's check my email. All right, guys, so in my email, in the sent folder, we can see that there's this meeting request discussion about the future of AI agents. And it's saying, hi there, I'd like to schedule some time to drop in. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Could you let me know what times work best for you? Looking forward to the conversation. So we can see this agent worked out perfectly, and it was able to send an email. And so now just like go wild, right? So we added those two tools. Just think about this in terms of, now that you have the basic understanding of how to build these out, create as many tools as you want to give it access to, right? Just go in here, think of what are the inputs that are going into this. Maybe I want to have it, have access to ChatGPT. Maybe I want to give it access to Tallyform, and it can say, hey, create me a new form that does XYZ. Maybe I want to give it access to Slack, and I could just say something like create a message. And then I could go in here and I could have it create the message, create the output. I could say like, hey, send an update to Donald about XYZ in Slack, send it to this channel, or what are the channels that I have in Slack, or you could have it get messages as well. Hey, do I have any unread messages in Slack? If so, what are they? You can have it, create that integration. So you can pretty much go wild. As long as you follow this process, it's pretty simple, right? You just figure out what is the agent, what is the trigger, and so we go and create a scenario with that agent. We give it access to the tools, the inputs and the outputs. Then we add the tools back into the agent in the AI agent feature. So then we go back into the AI agent here. We give it access to the system tools, and then we're just adding as many of these as we want here. And this is really competing with N8N now. This is their kind of version of what we've seen in terms of N8N AI agents. I personally think that I enjoy building stuff in make.com more than N8N. I think N8N is more powerful. So my team and I've been delegating a bunch of projects, and I'm basically building out the entire infrastructure of my AI agency inside of N8N. Just because I think it's more reliable, it's more robust. There's more that you can do with it in terms of adding custom code modules, etc. But just personally, I like the user interface of make.com better. So I'm really excited about this AI agent feature to start building some of these out for my own business. And so thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this valuable. If so, leave a comment of what agent would you like me to build? How would you like me to build it, etc. And if you want to do a deep dive on this stuff, you can actually go over here into the description, we have a community inside of school, AI Agent University. We talk about all of the different AI agent templates, AI agent in a weekend. I'm going to drop this system prompt in here, but pretty much, email agents, sales systems, sales agents, marketing agents. I'm building out a lot of different systems for real world clients, real world use cases, and adding all of these frameworks for prompt engineering, marketing, sales in here. And so you can, set up your first agent immediately inside of N8N, get all the templates, etc., fast track your progress with different calls and such. And so, yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.